We're watching films on the toilet, because that's what dads have to do. When the movie's unsuitable for your kids, then pretend you need a number two. If you need a break from your family or spouse, there's a lavatorial picture house. Watch Terminator 2 while you're sitting on the loo. Enjoy the whole of Rambo 4 with your trousers on the floor. We're watching films on the toilet. How about you? Ooh. Ooh. Don't know, opening noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, woo! Welcome to Watching Films on the Toilet. A podcast.
It is.
Isn't it, Eamonn?
Legally.
We're legally required to call it a podcast. Podcast in which a couple of dads, myself, I'm Ben, and Eamonn,
hello,
chat about movies that we've watched on the toilet because they were too violent or scary to watch with our kids.
That's the format. It works.
That's the format. And today, we're going to be discussing The Expendables 3.
Yes.
We're watching all the Expendables movies leading up to The Expendables 4. If you want to go back and listen to The Expendables 1 and The Expendables 2, you should do that.
Yes.
Before you listen to this one. Otherwise, skip ahead about 15 minutes and we're going to talk about The Expendables 3. Mm-hmm. But before that, if you want some lols, or you're just in it for the long game, then, let's crack on.
Yeah. So, as you notice, we are quite disciplined there with getting into the description of the show. And that's because Ben made the observation that when people watch our clips on YouTube, the engagement rate is not too bad, but then it drops off a fucking cliff after about a minute.
It really
People
does.
are just like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
What are they talking about? Stop.
Good amount of views,
Yeah.
but I guess people are really put off by, I don't know, chat about Pic N or...
Idiots, those people.
Or what else do we normally talk about? Just you getting cross.
Me being cross, you being passive-aggressive.
I'm not. So that's what we're doing now. We're going to come in hard and then go cold. I don't really know what that means.
Also, spoiler alert, no toilet news. We're deciding to put toilet news into like stasis.
Yeah, so we're not flushing it down the toilet, but we're keeping it in the toilet and closing the lid for a bit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not gone permanently. We can open it up and have a look whenever we want.
Yeah. Have a look, have a peek. Whew.
Yeah.
It's still there.
You know, when you want to show your friends, you're not ready to flush it.
Oh, wow. This is
the kind of stuff that makes people turn off.
Yeah, I get it. I do get it. Okay, so first of all, do we have any correspondence from last week's episode?
I have a letter here.
Okay.
Dear Watching Films on the Toilet, elderly action icon Chuck Norris here.
Oh.
I was not happy with your last podcast in which you described my cameo appearance in Expendables 2 as jarring, with my performance being out of kilter with the rest of the cast. You also took issue with my immaculately groomed beard, like that's a bad thing. The final insult was that you didn't like my inclusion of a Chuck Norris joke. The jokes that gained peak popularity in the late noughties about how tough I am.
Yeah.
Well, to teach you young'uns some manners, I'm going to give you a few more Chuck Norris jokes to see how you like that. And he's put in brackets, that's right, another list.
Yeah, I did say, I did think a list might be coming, yeah.
Yeah. Admittedly, it's no longer a thing to post them on the internet, so I've had to write them myself. But they still do the job, I can tell you that. Here we go. Chuck Norris once ate a conker. Chuck Norris can look at the sun. It hurt, but he still did it. Chuck Norris once called a shopkeeper a sod. Some silly people think Chuck Norris isn't tough, but tell that to the bird he kicked the other day. Someone with big muscles? That's probably Chuck Norris.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Classic Chuck Norris joke there.
Yeah. Once an attractive woman saw Chuck Norris and blew him a kiss. Lots of love, Chuck Norris.
Oh, wow. I mean, I love Chuck Norris jokes.
Yeah, same. Those were really good.
It's weird. They're not quite something slightly different to the ones I've heard before, but they were all quite nice.
They did the job. They bigged him up quite a lot.
They did. They were very complimentary, weren't they?
Did you have any correspondence?
I do. I have a letter. So last week you mentioned that you went on holiday to Lyme Regis and bought a jawbreaker gobstopper from a sweet shop. Mm-hmm. So it turns out you weren't the only one holidaying there. Okay, so here we go. Dear Watching Films on the Toilet, Matthew McFadden here.
Ooh.
After listening to your podcast, I felt compelled to write in about something that happened to me and my wife when we were on holiday in Lyme Regis last month. We were enjoying a walk along the seafront one afternoon when I noticed a man arguing with his daughter on the other side of the road. She was screaming, "Don't, Dad, don't do it," whilst trying to pull something out of his hand. Her father yelled back, "I'll do what I want, it's my holiday too," before breaking her grip and stuffing what looked like a white ball about the size of his daughter's fist into his mouth. He turned towards her and started laughing in her face. But then the laughter quickly stopped and he fell to the floor, choking, clearly struggling to breathe. So I rushed across the street to help. I picked him up off the floor and told my wife, actress Keely Hawes, to reassure him while I performed a Heimlich maneuver. After a few thrusts, the ball shot out of the man's mouth and flew straight into my wife's face, breaking her nose on impact. The man caught his breath and wandered over to my wife. I thought he was going to comfort her, but he was just looking for his white ball, which he stuffed into his mouth before running away. His daughter then apologised and walked after him. After listening to the show, I realised that man was you, Eamonn, and the white ball was in fact a giant jawbreaker gobstopper. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your holiday, because I spent the rest of mine getting weird looks from people because they thought I'd punched my wife in the face. Thanks a lot, pal. Yours, Matthew McFadden.
Oh.
There you go. So, turns out, Eamonn, you didn't tell the whole story last week, did you?
I think that was some other guy.
Another guy in Lyme Regis who bought a gobstopper?
There's loads of us.
No.
Every dad.
Is it Gobstopper Clan?
Yeah, it's kind of like
Jawbreaker Crew.
We're like a firm, like a footballing firm,
like a hooligan.
Like hooligans, but we just like gobstoppers. So it could have been anyone of the boys, Jonesy or Ray, Portly John.
Poor Portly John. Poor Portly John. Have you seen? There's a trailer for a new Tom Hardy film, also starring Austin Butler at the banking. They're going to go on the motorbikes. And have you seen that?
I've not seen the trailer. Does he talk in that voice?
He's kind of like an American guy, but he's got his Tom Hardy thing going on. I just thought maybe they could make a film like, about outlaw bikers, but about guys who stuff gobstoppers into their mouths.
Yeah, we're pretty cool.
That would be cool.
And
I could see it.
The leader of the gang is got the biggest gobstopper, because there's some which are like...
I wonder what you're going to say. Crikey.
It's family show.
It's still an innuendo, isn't it? It's still an innuendo, I think.
Some of them, they're like the size of a tennis ball. I did actually pick one of those up and I was like, could I? And it's like, no.
I mean, if you said this guy has a huge jawbreaker, I think then...
Oh, yeah.
It could have implications, couldn't it?
Could have implications.
Yeah. But maybe speak to poor Portly John about that. So, no toilet news, but we introduced a regular feature last week, which we're going to keep going because we think it's got legs.
We are talking about the various sweets you get in a cinema's pick and mix. We're going to choose a different sweet each week. Discuss the pros and cons. Mm-hmm. Then we'll say if it goes in our essential pick and mix bag, and then we give it a score. So the sweet we're looking at this week is the pink foam prawn.
Pink foam prawn.
Foam prawn.
Before we get into this, I need to tell you, it was National Cinema Day last week.
Okay.
So me and my kids, we went to see Into the Spider-Verse sequel again, which is fantastic. And I took my oldest son to see Jurassic Park.
Nice.
Which was just brilliant. And it's now his second favourite film behind The Dark Knight. But because it had clearly been a very busy day at the cinema, we got some pick and mix. I said, you go to town, son. They had no jelly beans.
Okay.
They had no foam bananas. There are no giant dolphins. There are no jelly eggs. And worst of all, Eamonn,
Are you making sweets up?
no cake. No, these are real Pic N
Jelly
sweets.
dolphins
How
and
dare you?
giant eggs. Never had of them in my life.
You know, like the Haribo eggs.
Oh, the fried eggs.
Fried eggs, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
They didn't have any cables.
Whoa.
And I'm thinking that deserves a refund or some kind of warning as you walk in. Like, sorry, are you sure you want Pic N Mix? Because we don't have any cables. Because I would have said no, thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we do finally get around to cables, I think that'll probably be a special episode where we talk about nothing else.
Yeah,
because we're both very passionate about the cables, aren't we?
So no film, just cables.
Just, yeah.
Moving on,
So, yeah, I can imagine that was...
I'm past it now. It was
tough.
good. It was good to get it out. It was good to let it out. But they also didn't have any foam prawns, and I've noticed at that cinema they don't have them. But those were up until a certain age when people stopped asking me what my favourite sweets were. Foam prawns, my favourite sweets.
Wow.
As a child,
Yeah.
foam prawn. Yeah,
Jeez, I was not expecting that.
I think they're legit. They are legit.
Legit. I think the thing that always catches me off guard is how dense the foam is.
Yeah.
You think this is going to be very nice and light. No. It has the texture of like a memory foam mattress.
Yes, it does.
It's dense. It is dense, son.
Isn't that part of the pleasure?
Oh, 100%.
Like I'd say it's the main part of the pleasure.
I think it always catches me off guard. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make light work of this foamy sweet.
Does it
Then
stop you in your
bite it.
tracks? When you're
Yeah,
walking
I'll be
along
walking.
the street?
Yeah, and I'll be like,
Just go, what?
yeah.
Yeah.
And people are like looking me up and down.
Yeah.
And then I'll hold up the foam prawn to them.
Your
and they'll be
wife's like 5 paces ahead. She has to turn and look back. Like, what's
They're so dense. And they also have like a texture on the outside, which is kind of like dusty and a bit kind of like a little bit. I always feel like, is this gone off?
Yes,
Like it has that kind of a,
it does.
is this okay?
It's like it's
I
hardened.
guess it's fine. Yeah.
It's spent time hardening, but hasn't. It just started like that.
It's just a very endurable, is that a word? Endurable?
Endurable.
Enduring. It's very enduring sweet.
Endearing.
Endearing or endurable.
I thought you were just going for enjoyable.
Enjoyable. No, it's enduring. It's an enduring sweet.
Is
I think so.
it?
Well,
Enduring.
I'm sure I've eaten ones which are like
You endure it.
no, in that they endure. So I imagine.
Oh, okay. They last over a period of time.
5 or 6
so
years
much
old.
like a cockroach would survive a nuclear
Precisely.
holocaust. The foam prawn would be the only sweet to survive.
That would become
nuclear
that would become the
holocaust.
currency in a post-apocalyptic world.
Bring it on, mate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Well, no, I'm not gonna be rich because I'm gonna eat all my money.
Yeah, be like,
Yeah.
God, I'm so desperate, but I want to buy a gun. That'd be 16 foam prawns then.
Well, that's it. My wife, she's rooting around the house like, we got to get a gun. We got to get a gun. Where are the prawns? Where are the prawns? Yeah, it wouldn't work, would it? It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't.
No.
Right, okay. Well, I wasn't expecting you to be quite so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So now, Ben, please give me a score out of 10. Not yet.
Okay.
And then let me know if it makes your essential... I'm going to do that every week now.
Yeah.
And then let me know if it makes your essentials Pic N Mix bag.
Okay. You didn't know this about foam prawns and my love for them.
No.
I haven't had them for a little while, but they are one of my favourite sweets. So I would give foam prawns 9 pick out of 10 mix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is strong.
And they would definitely make my essential bag, 100%.
Okay.
What about you?
I like them. I don't think I feel quite so strongly as you do. I would give them a score of 7 pick out of 10 mix.
Yeah.
And do you know what? If they have them, I'd always put 1 in.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't put a load in, but if I had them, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to put 1 in.
Just to remember that surprisingly tough exterior and denseness. You're right. It always catches you off guard.
Conversation starter, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Tell you what, mate, this foam prawn is bloody dense.
Yeah. So, on to The Expendables Part 3.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Now, obviously, we watched this film on the toilet. So each week, I do a summary of the film that we are talking about. The summary is a summary of the movie, just in case you've forgotten the main plot, which I will attempt in the time it takes Eamonn to do a very long wee, because he's had a drink of something related to the film. Eamonn?
Yeah.
What was it this week?
Obviously, this film has Hollywood's star Mel Gibson in.
Yeah.
And his tipple of choice, or at least the thing he was drinking when he had his infamous outburst, was tequila. So
okay.
I drank as much tequila as Mel Gibson drank. I said some really racist stuff, and then I did a big long wee.
Okay. Wow. Are you? Is everything okay? Or
I'm fine now.
oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's
Good.
no follow-up questions required.
And how long does that give me to summary The Expendables 3?
57 seconds.
Okay, I'll give it a go. All right.
Right, are you ready?
Of course I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
So, the Expendables are back again, and this time they're rescuing Wesley Snipes from a train before he drives that train into the dictator that locked him up. He wants to go home, but the Expendables need to carry out a job, which goes horribly wrong when Mel Gibson arrives and shoots Terry Crews in the bum. Then Harrison Ford turns up and Sly decides he needs new, younger Expendables, so he finds some with Kelsey Grammer. Together they manage to capture Mel, but then he escapes and takes all the new Expendables hostage, so the old Expendables fly off to save them with Antonio Banderas, and then they join forces to take down Mel, and they all become friends. Still, not the end.
Oh, okay. 43 seconds.
Boom. These films do allow for some very tight summaries.
Yes, they're not burdened.
Particularly when you get to the third one.
Yeah, they're not burdened with an excess of narrative, are they?
I'd heard that this was the worst of the three. So that I had very low expectations going in. But actually, I quite enjoyed the opening.
Yeah.
It was utterly ridiculous. But, Wesley Snipes, pretty cool. There's Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
And he's mad. And he he drives a train into the dictator, who happens to be standing right in the center of the compound that he's standing in, beside a picture of himself. Yeah. I mean, that is inspiring.
I mean, that's just great visual storytelling, isn't it? They're not having to tell you out loud, this is the dictator. They just put a picture of him. And then next to him is the guy. So you're like, oh.
It is great visual storytelling. I was wondering, if you were a bad man in the film, how would we know that you were the bad guy?
I'd have like a coat made out of animal pelts.
So you could still see their heads.
That's right. Yes, actually,
yeah.
Do you know what? That's exactly the sort of thing James Cameron would do, and what he wears on set.
What he parades around in.
It's like goading people to pick him up on it. Like, who's going to be brave enough?
Yes.
Basically, he's like Mr. Burns in Simpsons with, like a hat that's a poodle's head and stuff like that.
Yes. We haven't mentioned James Cameron for a while.
We haven't.
I like how anyone who's just tuned in for the film chat is now getting a really old callback to an old reference from the podcast, which is really nothing to do with the film, but, we'll keep it in.
We'll keep it in, yeah.
I would be all red. I'd paint myself all red and have devil horns.
Yes.
So everyone would know I was bad. Do you think that would be good visual storytelling?
Yes. Do you know what also he could have done? He could have tied a lady to the train track.
Oh, he could have. Yes. Oh, a lady in a dress.
Oh, yeah. Not trousers. Has to be a dress.
No, she'd have to be wearing a dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't she?
And be pretty.
Yeah. A beautiful woman in a polka dot dress.
Yeah.
Tied to the train track. That would have been really bad.
Yeah.
But as it was, they just went with, is it bad? Is it bad to have a portrait of yourself?
If that is the reason why they blew him up, I think that's a bit extreme.
I know. It's a bit harsh.
If you had the money, which you do, because you're rich, would you? Are you going to commission a painting of yourself?
You know what it would be? It would be me throwing up a load of foam prawns.
Yeah.
And just like smiling, like it was raining foam prawns. Mm-hmm. Would I be full nude? I don't know.
Maybe you'd have a foam prawn covering your modesty. a big one. Not
I mean,
in fairness, you'd have to look twice at it, wouldn't you? You'd be like, is that what's that? Oh, is that a foam prawn?
I feel like it would be odd if it was a really big. Maybe it's just like perspective. So there's some prawns are sort of closer to the.
That's a good idea.
To the viewer's eye than other prawns. So this.
Do you feel like it would be bragging if it was a massive foam prawn? Is that what you're concerned about?
Yeah. If it was at the same distance as all the other prawns, and there was one really big one, it would be.
Keep going.
It would feel out of place. It would feel. I think if I did that, I should have a train.
Well, I mean, if the James Cameron chat didn't drive off the straights, then that conversation certainly will have done.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, we meet Snipes. We meet Harrison Ford.
This film, I think, represents a real step change in acting quality.
It does.
Snipes,
yeah.
Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, despite all his shortcomings, is a very good actor. And
he stole the show.
He so did.
I really enjoyed watching him. He was good.
I just wanted there to be more of him because he was.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was just like, when he was sort of talking about how he used to be an expendable, but he wanted to get more money, I was just like, this character is way more believable than anyone else. Yeah. And I kind of like him.
He's actually got a backstory. Yeah. This is new.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good. How'd you feel about Kelsey Grammer?
That took me completely out of the film. That's a really odd bit of stunt casting. Like, he brings, he'll never not be Fraser. And he has just such a weird energy. Like, it has a sitcom energy to him.
Yeah. But we had Antonio Banderas was completely mental.
Another good actor.
A good idea for a character. Like, he desperately wants to be an expendable. He's like a massive fan. That worked.
I think Rodney from Only Fools and Horses is going to be in the fourth one.
Nicholas
Lyndhurst is going to be, yeah.
Do you think Del Boy will be in it as well?
Well, if Operation U Tree doesn't get to him first, he will be.
And then Arnie was in it again, sort of playing a completely different character. It's like he actually acted more in this one.
Yes, absolutely. In the last one, it was really weird. It was like he was almost sort of being himself, whereas this one, he was properly acting.
Because Arnie he was super successful, and then he had that heart operation, and he came back and he did a series of flops, and I feel like those happened around Expendables 1, Expendables 2 kind of time. But then he adopted this more kind of serious. He was in Maggie, that zombie movie. Yeah. And that sort of relaunched him as a more serious actor. We saw that in this movie. And there were other things like all the dog tags hanging in the plane. I thought that was an interesting touch. Like, oh, okay. Lots of Expendables have been lost before. That hasn't really been alluded to yet, has it? Yeah. I mean, they're called the Expendables, but they're all pretty much still alive. Yeah. But they've clearly lost a lot of guys. And it felt, I was quite enjoying it. And then Stallone just abandons everyone and goes and gets all these new rubbish ones.
It doesn't make sense at all.
I don't want to put them in danger anymore, I suppose. But
so, what have you been doing for your entire career? Yeah. That's all you do.
They were rubbish. Yeah. Ronda Rousey can't act. She's good at the action stuff and she looks tough, but she can't. Yeah. And then we had Glen Powell, who's in Top Gun.
Yes.
He climbed up a pipe for ages.
I think they missed a trick because he intervened when Sly was about to deck Mel Gibson when they'd captured him. And I thought, I bet he's a mole. I bet he's one of Mel's boys. And he's going to help him escape. And I think that would have been far more interesting.
Yes, I agree.
And he'd have much more to do. Because he has that kind of weasel-like face, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's good. He's a good. I think he's a pretty good actor. And the others were, I don't even know, so forgettable. No, just there was parkour guy, and there was guy who got his ass kicked, but for some reason still, I'd see myself in you, or you can be part of the team. Like, what? Yeah. Why? Why would you bring that guy along? He's just going to get himself wrecked.
Like, Sly is clearly like a really intelligent guy, and he's a good writer when he wants to be. In this, he's just thinking about, instead of starting with a story and trying to tell a good story, he's going, right, I need to cram this with as many famous people as possible and do as much action as possible. So how can I get everyone to do something?
Yeah.
And get roughly the same amount of screen time. I'm assuming that's why the films are the way they are.
It felt that way, didn't it? And I mean, I guess a pretty surefire way to win any battle is to bring twice as many people with you as your enemy has. And then you're just going to savage them. Because there must have been like, I don't know, about 40 Expendables by the end of it.
Yeah.
And just keeping up with all that scene at the end was so choppy. Because it was just bouncing between about 17 different people.
I know. I fell asleep through part of the last action sequence. Admittedly, it's very hot.
Yes, it is.
But you shouldn't really be falling asleep through the climactic action sequence of a film.
Yeah, and then the Expendables came back, but because it didn't make any sense as to why they were gone in the first place, it was like, okay. I actually started laughing out loud at the end because there were so many interactions between the characters. Like so many, right, we need Ronda Rousey to talk to this guy, and we need Jason Statham to talk to this guy, and then we need Dolph Lundgren to talk to Jet Li, and we need Terry Crews to. It was like cracking me up because there was it was like, what's the last Lord of the Rings film called?
The Return of the King.
Yeah, it was like Return of the King if they'd managed to pack all those endings into about 5 minutes. It was so funny.
Yeah.
You can't introduce 7 new characters halfway through and expect us to be like, yeah, come on. Yeah, you survived. Woo.
So Ben and I have just been talking for a really long time about a lineup of that we think we could feasibly get together to be our own version of the Expendables.
Yeah.
We set ourselves a budget of £1,000 total.
Yes.
And I think we can get all these guys, plus maybe 1 or 2 bonuses for that.
Okay, let's do it.
So we said for our Jason Statham character would be Michael Greco from EastEnders.
Yeah, you do it.
Jet Li would be Craig Phillips from Big Brother Series 1.
Yeah.
Because he's quite small.
He's cheap.
And cheap, yeah. Dolph Lundgren, sort of crazy wildcard character. Wolf from Gladiators.
Yes. Now doing like kids' parties and stuff, so I think we could get him.
Randy Couture, the kind of, sort of, I don't know how he has no defining characteristics.
No, he doesn't.
But quite a big fleshy head, as does John Turode from MasterChef.
He's got an edge. I think he'd be more than happy to join in a crew like that.
He would, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the big strong guy who's Terry Crews in Expendables, with of course Jeff Capes.
Jeff Capes,
strongest man in the world.
Capes. And I was thinking the Stallone character, so the head of the Expendables, the guy that gets them all together, William Roach
from Coronation Street.
Ken Barlow,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Is it William Roach?
Yeah, maybe.
I think he could assemble the team.
Ben wasn't telling me who he had in mind for Sly, and he was just like,
I know,
this one's going to blow your mind. You're going to absolutely love this. He really bigged it up all through that chat.
He'd be pretty good at the head of the table.
Well, yeah,
he's
bigged it up so much.
He's got the power to really...
He was famously meek.
Bring all these guys together.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, if you picture William Roach at the centre of this group, it's quite good.
What a downer. We've developed all that. We've developed a real good head of steam there.
Okay, great, excellent. And what's our crew called? The UK Expendables.
Let's workshop it a little more. See, this is what happens when you work alone, Ben. This is why we need to workshop.
I mean, that's sort of the naff name they'd have, isn't it? We're the UK Expendables. Like, they're not going to have anything good.
I feel like it should have the word turkey in it for some reason.
Oh, right, yeah. Why didn't I think of that? Turkey?
Jive turkeys?
The jar of turkeys.
The jive turkeys. But no, jar of turkeys is better.
The jar of turkeys.
Yeah.
So those guys,
Definitely.
like, kind of, bled out poster all their heads. The jar of turkeys. Be good.
Yeah, that's such a weird... Yeah, good.
It's funny because we're not normally this weird. Like, we've got weird, haven't we, in this episode?
I think
We
it's
haven't
almost like
been
a
this weird
knee-jerk
for a while.
response to...
to trying to be, like,
can't help us as
trying
self-sabotaging.
to be mainstream. It just doesn't work.
Hey, mainstream listeners, want to check out our parody film? It's called Jar of Turkeys, starring William Roach.
Coming soon. Well, look, I've only got one more thing to say about this film.
Okay.
I am the Hague.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, man.
That is probably the greatest line I've ever heard. I am the Hague.
I think maybe Bruce Willis is the best person. He's had the best lines for, like, when he kills a guy.
Yeah.
And this is like the absolute low point of that.
Is that a play on I am the law?
Oh, maybe. Right, let's get to it. Why don't you go first this week, Ben? Would you flush this film like Sly Stallone gets flushed into that river when he gets blowed up by a bomb? Do you remember?
He does, yeah.
Or would you fish it out like Sly Stallone gets fished out on a rope from the roof? Oh, that was the easiest. That's the easiest one ever.
Well done. When they play that prank on him, don't they? Where they won't let him climb up the roof. Yeah, it's a classic gag. It's a classic gag, isn't it?
I love that. Like, usually you let the massive action climax breathe a little bit. Then you have your light-hearted moment. They do it immediately after.
Pull me up. No, we're not pulling you up. We're not.
Yeah.
And then they just fly off with him hanging from a rope.
Oh, and there's a absolutely terrible bit of CGI where they have like a cutout of Sly, the silhouette of him hanging on this rope.
Yeah, that is bad.
And instead of sort of like showing him gradually being winched up,
Yeah.
it's like freeze frame.
Yeah.
So it just looks like a stick figure being jerked up slowly into the helicopter. It's like,
He does, yeah.
come on.
And
come on.
another bad bit was when Harrison Ford flips his helicopter over.
Oh, God.
Great bit of blue screen there.
Yeah. So, first off, where would you put this in the ranking so far of the other films we've watched? And would you fish it out or flush it away?
It's really difficult because my expectations have been lowered so much that I actually enjoyed it. Like with the first movie, I was expecting a lot more, so I was disappointed. The second one, because I'd heard it was better than the first, I was again disappointed. And also because it started pretty decent and then it really went downhill. This one, because I was expecting trash, I actually enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Mel Gibson. Wesley Snipes, I like the part where he shaved his own face perfectly, clean. Like, I'm not a big believer in films that are so bad they're good. But this actually might be one of them. Like, it had things that were so bad but really funny. Like that ending where everyone had to have their line. It was just, it really made me laugh and I enjoyed it.
Would you watch it again?
Would I watch it again? No, I wouldn't watch it again. But I think because I enjoyed it, it's not a good film. Just entertained me more than any of the others.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fish it out.
Okay. Wow. This is the problem, isn't it? I feel in a similar sort of dilemma. Can I countenance putting this film in? Would it go in the tank of glory?
What if we both said it would? Yeah, it would.
I'm not sure I can do it. I feel glad that you've sort of said yes, because I think it's better than the other ones.
Yeah.
And I think Mel Gibson is the best thing in any of the films I've seen so far.
Absolutely.
I think Harrison Ford, when he first arrived, I was like, classy. But I think it's like the drag effect of the film. He got slowly worse.
He did.
As the film went on. By that helicopter scene, which, by the way, clearly he, Jet Li and Arnie recorded separately.
I think that might be the case, yes.
Oh, I'm convinced that's the case.
Yeah.
He was terrible.
It was like, oh, Jet Li's joined up with Arnie?
Yeah.
Like, oh, because of scheduling conflicts. That's
Yeah.
why. I see. Yeah.
I would regretfully flush this.
Okay. What's nice is this won't go in the macerating tank of despair.
Yes, which I think
it's
is
just going to
fair.
get flushed.
Yeah.
It's not a Tank of Glory movie, but I don't think it deserves to be macerated.
I agree.
Excellent. All right, so we're flushing the Expendables 3, but I think we both quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right, now on to our top 5. So Eamonn and myself will attempt to guess each other's top 5 choices on a particular theme. Whoever gets the most right, well, usually chooses the next film, but it's the Expendables 4, so we don't need to worry about that. And whoever gets the most wrong does a forfeit. So this week, our theme is top 5 celebrity meltdowns.
Yeah.
So, Eamonn, you lost last time, I think.
Did indeed, yeah.
So you get the first pick, and I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to choose.
Yes, this is a slam dunk. A Christian Bale melting down on the set of Terminator 3.
Famously one of my favourite things in the world.
It is. Oh, good.
Oh, good. It's so funny.
Why do you think you love it so much?
It's just so it's the fact that it's not his voice, the fact that he goes on and on. This poor man, like, it's not nice. He's abusing someone, you know, but it just feels like, I just imagine what it would have been like to be on that set. Just like, oh, it's so cringe. And we're done professionally. You know, there's so many great lines in there. They're so great. I do love it. All right, good choice. Okay,
Cool. All right.
well, this is a duplicate. Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Of course.
It's legendary, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Monday morning I woke up and found that had happened. I stand by it. It was the best Monday morning I've ever had. I couldn't take my eyes off it. I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Chris Rock, I think, did a great job because, and the fact he just managed to say anything. I think if that was me, I'd been so shocked. I couldn't.
Yeah.
First of all, he's just like, Will Smith is like, get my wife's name out of your mouth. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he says something like, and that was the greatest thing that ever happened. So it's like, all right, it's not that good. It's pretty good.
All right. Next choice.
So when Kanye West gate crashed Taylor Swift's MTV award.
I didn't pick that one. I do like it, but I find the decline of Kanye very depressing because he's an incredibly talented man, but clearly has mental health issues, and I don't know if he has good people around him.
I think it's difficult, isn't it, when you have that much money? It's almost impossible to hit rock bottom. If it's you or I, totally sort of spiraled, eventually it'd come to a point where everyone around us would just be like, okay, get some help. Whereas he has so many enablers and so much money, he can sort of keep going forever, I think. It's just being weird.
Yeah. Someone's always going to say to him, yeah, you're awesome.
Yeah.
What you're doing is great.
Yeah, whites are great, Kanye. You're right.
All right. I'm going to say something to do with Alec Baldwin.
I have one Alec Baldwin thing, yeah.
What Alec Baldwin did you choose?
He's had a couple, so I think I have to push you to choose one.
The one on the plane?
No.
The rant to his daughter?
Yes.
You chose the rant at his daughter.
It's hilarious.
But she was like 11. That was awful.
That's what makes it so funny. Like, he is bawling her out. Like, she's like 11. I've got the transcript here. Okay, where is it?
Of course you chose that.
He goes, I don't care that you're 12 or 11 or whatever. Doesn't know her age. Are you pig enough to pick it up? Like pig, like the animal? I'm a good father and you're a pig. I don't give a shit. Good father. You better be ready Friday the 20th to meet with me. Pig. I'll also tell your mother I said go f*** yourself. Then at the end, this is Dad. Ring me back when you get a chance. Almost like he's on like autopilot. He has to sign off that way.
Oh my God.
You ever called
wow.
your boys a pig?
No, I haven't called either of my kids a pig. No pig. You?
No, even though he swears in it, that's the thing that I think sticks out most, is that he calls her a pig. That's quite...
Very pointed.
It's quite hurtful, yeah.
Yeah, he's clearly a very unhinged man.
Okay, I will say, this is a double, Tom Cruise jumping up and down on the Oprah couch.
I chose a different Tom Cruise.
Oh, it's when he has his COVID meltdown.
It was his COVID rant, yeah.
Yeah.
I found the jumping up and down the couch it's one of the most cringy things I've ever seen. It's so cringe.
I read this brilliant conspiracy theory, which was because of the way he jumps up and down on that thing, the way he lands and stays quite high on the sofa means that they would have to have reinforced it in advance. So put in like some extra, paneling or something.
So they knew he was going to do it.
Isn't that weird?
You know what? It sort of makes sense.
It does make sense. That's exactly the kind of calculated thing he would do.
Excellent. All right, well...
If you get this, you win.
This is a duplicate. Just Charlie Sheen.
Do you know what? He was on my list and then I replaced it.
Oh.
Because I loved all that stuff.
That was a fun time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not for him, but for the rest of us. So, Eamonn, you had less duplicates, so you are the winner. Congratulations. Well done. So, what were your top 5?
So, I had Alec Baldwin calling his 11-year daughter a pig. I had Tom Cruise jumping down on the Oprah couch. I had Will Smith physically assaulting Chris Rock in front of an audience of people who then gave him a huge award afterwards to say thanks. And then the other ones was David O. Russell on the set.
You picked that? That's terrible, Eamonn. I watched that video. It's awful. How the hell is he still working after that?
Yeah, that's astonishing. If that came out now, obviously he'd be cancelled immediately. But I think it's like, I just enjoy it from just like out of control he is. He's sort of shouting and like his voice is breaking. So you can tell he's just livid.
He's a psycho.
There's lots of stories about him.
Yeah, yet still he's making films. So what's that about? Who is he got dirt on?
He's just successful, isn't he? He's done lots of successful films.
That's
fine.
Do what you want.
Keep going.
Do what you want.
You're allowed to do it.
That's true.
And the last one was Russell Crowe throwing a phone and a vase at a hotel clerk because he couldn't get a connection to Australia.
Good choice.
I mean,
that is a good choice.
He deserved it, right? Yeah. That guy deserved it.
Excellent. Well, I chose Tom Cruise's COVID rant, Will Smith's physical assault, Christian Bale, Charlie Sheen's just Charlie Sheen.
Amazing.
And I also chose Mark Wahlberg when he went off on one about 9/11.
Oh, God.
So he was talking, and
so
I'll read the quote.
Yeah.
So this is an interview. He was talking about Flight 93, I think. She said, "If I was on that plane with my kids, it wouldn't have went down like it did. There would have been a lot of blood in that first class cabin, and then me saying, okay, we're going to land somewhere safely. Don't worry."
Oh, my God.
I mean, incredibly disrespectful.
Yeah, so tone deaf.
So yeah, that was my final choice.
That's a great selection. Well done.
Good stuff. So what's my forfeit, Eamonn?
Your forfeit is you have to assemble for real your very own jar of turkeys.
Okay, wow.
So it can be people that we mentioned, or it can be others.
A different jar of turkeys. Okay, wow.
Whatever you want.
All right. So last time, Eamonn, you had a forfeit, which was to...
I had to take all the drugs.
Did you take all the performance-enhancing drugs? Let's see how that went then.
So my challenge this week is to take all the performance-enhancing drugs. It wasn't easy, but with a bit of tenacity, I managed to find them all. I can't wait to get all big and muscly like the boys from the Expendables. First off, I'm going to take some amphetamines. So, I have lots of energy, I managed to clean my house from top to bottom, but I'm not hench at all. So next up, I'm going to have some Tren and Winnie to grow the old muscles. Whew. Well, I've just completed the Davina McCall Toned in 10 DVD, but I wouldn't say my muscles have grown at all. I'm just a bit sweaty. Let's go for some human growth hormone, a surefire way to get some hulking great muscles. Well, I feel something. I'm pretty sure it's my brain swelling in my head, but the arms and legs are not looking remotely jacked. I thought growth hormone was supposed to make you grow all over. Well, I'm just going to take it all and see if that makes a difference. Oh man, that doesn't feel right at all. Oh, God, it's getting bigger. So that's the end of the forfeit. I overdosed on human growth hormone and tragically exploded. I'm dead now. I'm talking from the spirit realm. Whoa. Only joking. I am dead though.
So, next time, we're going to go to the cinema, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
And we're going to watch The Expendables 4.
Quite excited about that.
I have enjoyed this marathon. I know most of the films have been very disappointing, but I have enjoyed it.
I think if this film was as bad as the first one, I would be not looking forward to it very much. But actually now, I thought this third one, I think it feels like they've got incrementally better.
It's going to be good. It's got eco in it, so I'm definitely on board.
And Tony Jaa as well.
Awesome. So last thing to do is to thank our Patreons.
This week, to say thanks, we're going to compare them to a cast member from the franchise so far.
Okay, so Mike Foster would be... I feel like he would be Antonio Banderas. Really enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And Raph, he would be Mel Gibson.
Yeah, the most evil person, so Mel Gibson.
And then my mum, I guess she'd be like Ronda Rousey.
Or Arnie.
Or Arnie. My mum would be like Arnie. Okay, not a woman. And then my dad, who, as we know, is very practical. So
Should we just say he's sly? He's got black
yeah,
hair.
he is kind of like that. Yeah,
there we go.
I did send you an article saying that Sly, apparently the woman in the first film that was waterboarded.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I did see that.
She actually got waterboarded.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
Because she wanted to, keep up with all the big stunt men. She took a waterboarding, which is really disturbing.
It's really dangerous. I can't believe they actually
Really
did
dangerous.
it.
It's okay. You want to do that, you do that.
Didn't make the film any better, so what a waste of time that was.
What a waste of time. All right. Well, thank you for listening. If you've made it all the way through, well done.
Yeah.
If you jumped forward to the 15-minute mark, I doubt very much you're still listening.
Yeah.
So thanks anyway to anyone. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah.
TikTok maybe. Please rate and review and subscribe to our podcast. We really appreciate it. Get in touch with us. And Eamonn.
So long, suckers. I'm changing. Can I change it up? That's going to be my new one.
No.
No?
No.
All right. Oh. It's turkey time?
No. Definitely not that. It's not turkey time.
No, it's not.
It's the end.
That's what the jar of turkeys say when they burst into a room with their guns.
It's turkey time.
Yeah, in that slightly dead sort of emotionless way.
There you go. Okay.
All right, keep flushing.